Hey everyone, and welcome. So, the solar industry is just on fire right now. It's absolutely booming, which sounds amazing, right? But believe it or not, with that kind of crazy growth comes some pretty serious growing pains. Today, we're going to dive into how a really simple but super smart piece of tech is solving a massive challenge for solar companies. And it all kicks off with a question you might not expect.
I know what you're thinking. How on earth could a flood of interested customers ever be a bad thing? It sounds like the best problem to have. Well, as it turns out, when you don't have the right system to handle that flood, it can actually cause some huge issues. And that brings us right to the heart of the Solar Boom Challenge. We're seeing this incredible growth all across the USA, the UK, and Australia. But for the actual companies on the ground, their teams are getting completely overwhelmed. And kind of paradoxically, that means they're actually missing out on their best opportunities. Okay, so here's the core of the problem. Websites are just getting swamped with people reaching out. But the reality check, not every one of those people is a real qualified lead. You get folks who are just curious, maybe people who don't even own their home, or they live in an area that's not a fit. So your expert sales team ends up spending pretty much their entire day just filtering people out instead of, actually selling. So what's the fix? Well, it's all about an automated first impression. I want you to think of it like a digital receptionist for your website, one that works 24/7, never needs a coffee break, and is always ready to greet a potential customer the second they arrive. So what is this thing really? It's a chatbot, but not just any chatbot. In this world, it's a super specialized filter. Its one and only job is to have a quick, smart conversation to figure out one thing. Is this person a serious potential customer, or are they just kicking the tires? All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. How does this actually work? We're going to look at the anatomy of this smart conversation and see how a simple little chat can do the heavy lifting of qualifying a lead. It really just boils down to three simple stages. First, the moment a visitor shows interest. Bam, it engages them instantly. Second, it asks a few really crucial, super targeted questions. And third, depending on what they say, it either sends them straight to a human expert or helps them book a meeting for later. Simple, right? But so powerful. So what kind of key questions are we talking about? Well, things like, do you own your home? That's a huge one, right? You can't put panels on a house you're renting, or what's your average electricity bill? That helps figure out how much they could save. Every single question is laser focused on building a quick profile of that visitor. And here's the magic. If the answers all line up, if this person checks all the right boxes, the bot doesn't just say, okay, thanks, bye. No way. It takes that next logical step. It seamlessly passes that now warm lead over to the human team by inviting them to schedule a call right then and there. It's the perfect handoff. Now, let's talk about what might be the single most powerful part of this whole thing: speed. Because in the world of online sales, believe me, every single second counts. I mean, just think about it. The old way versus the new way. Traditionally, you fill out a form online and you wait, maybe for hours. By the time someone calls you back, you've kind of lost interest, or even worse, you've already found a competitor. A chatbot responds instantly while you're still on the site, still excited. It literally turns a cold lead into a hot one. And that instant response, it's not just from 9 to 5. We're talking 24/7. Somebody's up late doing research on a Saturday night at 10 p.m. The chatbot is there, ready to talk. It makes sure that no potential customer ever slips through the cracks. So all of this leads to our final and maybe most important point. This is all about the human element. This isn't about replacing people. It's about empowering them to be way better at their jobs by letting them focus on what humans do best. And this quote really just sums it all up perfectly. You want your highly skilled, expert sales team talking to people who are genuinely ready to have a conversation about buying. You don't want them wasting their time asking those basic filtering questions over and over. Automation handles the boring stuff so the humans can handle the closing. And let's be really clear, this isn't just some nice little efficiency boost. In hyper-competitive markets, this is a critical advantage. You think about places like California, London, or Sydney. There are tons of companies fighting for the same customer. The team that responds fastest to the best leads, that's the team that's going to win. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap of the big takeaways here. First, this system automatically qualifies leads with smart questions.
Second, those instant responses are everything for keeping people engaged. Third, it lets your sales team focus only on the high-quality prospects. Fourth, it's on the job capturing leads 24/7. And finally, it hooks right into a company's CRM system, so every single lead gets tracked perfectly.
So ultimately, I really want to drive this point home. This is not about replacing people. It is about creating a seriously powerful partnership. The chatbot is like the perfect assistant, teeing up the best opportunities so that the human sales reps can swoop in and do what they're amazing at, connecting with people and closing deals. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've seen just how powerful asking the right question right at the beginning is for the solar industry. So it makes you wonder, right? Where else, in business or maybe even just in our everyday lives, does asking that perfect first question make all the difference in the world? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.